Let's get into it. Coach Colin TV, what's going on, guys? I'm sure you must have heard last night the good news. If you haven't, I am so happy to bring it to you. Well, Jimmy Kimmel thought it was a good idea to say this.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?
Man, all right. Well, that's what he decided to say, and Jimmy Kimmel has been pulled. ABC decided to pull his show indefinitely. It's very, very, very nice to see. What did he say? What did he say back in the day? What did he call us? He said, if somebody's in the hospital, if they got their shot, then go right ahead. And if they didn't, well, rest in peace, Wheezy. Is that what he said? Is that what he called us? Wheezies? Rest in peace? Good. Listen, I'm not even thinking about, oh, is this right to do this, that? He's one of those guys that was pushing that narrative back when that was going on. Good riddance. Good riddance. I'm happy it happened. Good. He needs to be gone. The people, the Colberts, the Lemon, the Cuomo, the Kimmel, these people, Maddow, I hope Maddow's next. I hope she gets fired next. These people who push that fear onto the population, who push that narrative onto the population, that made us feel like we were subhuman, second-class citizens because of the decision that we made not to do the thing. They deserve that. They tried to turn society on us. That's what they tried to do. They tried to turn society on us. Yeah. So I'm happy. That this happened. Good for him. Tim Pool's like, holy, didn't expect that. ABC pulls it live indefinitely. Next Star, and I believe St. Clair as well. They pulled his show from all of their networks. If you don't know what Next Star St. Clair is, St. Clair they basically own ABC, but it's like the licensing. So they have, I think it's 30 or 40 networks that show Kimmel's show, and they pulled it from all of them, basically. So this is basically like a firing. He's basically been fired. There are some stipulations where he may possibly be able to come back, but it seems like Trump was pushing for a firing, and Trump got what he wanted. And honestly, there's going to be some people that say that's not fair. But yeah, honestly, if it was my friend, who just had that happen to him, or even if Trump wasn't super close with Charlie, and he's just looking at his vice president who actually was super close with Charlie, you had to see his wife and all this stuff, I'd be like, whoever said the thing, I want him off the air. I would do it too if I had the power to do that. If I had the power to appeal to those people and turn to the FCC chairman who I just put in that position, I'd say, listen, whatever has to happen, I don't want to see this guy on the air anymore. I would do that in a heartbeat. I can't lie. I would. Let's hear what Benny Johnson has to say about it.
Benny, this is just a monumental shakeup to the media landscape. And on Monday, after all the questions we've gotten from the audience about Charlie Kirk, and what happens now? Where do we go from here? Clearly, things are changing, and it's going to start with the media, where a reckoning is happening right now, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely, Rob, and thank you for having me on. I want to establish what Jimmy Kimmel did here because the left, much like how they are trying to hide the fact that Charlie was politically assassinated by a Trantifa, far left-wing sociopath who hated Charlie and hated conservatives. And so with hate in his heart, he inscribed Antifa and far left-wing LGBT messaging on bullets and sent them downrange to murder Charlie Kirk. They have tried to cover that up, and part of the cover-up was using Jimmy Kimmel's platform to say that Charlie was killed by a MAGA conservative. Now, left-wingers are trying now to rewrite history and say that Jimmy Kimmel was fired for a joke that he told. This is not a joke. Jimmy Kimmel said that Charlie Kirk deserved his assassination. Jimmy Kimmel said that Charlie Kirk shares in the blame for his own assassination. This is the commentary that Jimmy Kimmel made. It is utterly and completely indefensible. Jimmy Kimmel went on to then make fun of Charlie Kirk and make fun of President Trump, saying that he did not care about or love his friend. And so I want to establish that this is not a joke. This is a lie. Now, ABC has a lavish broadcast license that is granted to them by the American taxpayer. The American taxpayer pays money so that ABC News can be broadcast freely into millions of American homes. They have a responsibility to broadcast true information in the public interest. It is a legally binding contract. And so by Jimmy Kimmel misinforming his audience, not only does he victim blame Charlie Kirk and say that Charlie Kirk deserved to get politically assassinated, he's also lying to his audience, thus creating an unsafe environment for other conservatives, other Turning Point activists.
Exactly.
For you or me. He's saying that we deserved it. And more importantly, that if you go and kill a Trump supporter, that he will cover for you. That the left can go murder Trump supporters and Jimmy Kimmel will go and whitewash it for you so that you don't get any blame and his side doesn't get any blame. That's what Kimmel did. That accelerates the dangerous atmosphere that the left has created right now. It continues the atmosphere that got Charlie killed. And so what Jimmy Kimmel did was indefensible. Now, I saw that clip and I got enraged. And I said, we are going to call Brendan Carr and get him on my show. And we're going to talk about this. Brendan Carr is the FCC commissioner. Right. Brendan Carr came on my show and said that ABC is going to have hell to pay for this. That is a truly sick comment. And at the FCC, they're not going to tolerate it. Then we went and we called the local stations, the broadcast affiliates. And my team has been calling broadcast affiliates all day long.
More than 30
to say,
of them.
Do you agree? Do you agree with this?
Right.
And the broadcast affiliates, to their great credit, Nexstar and Sinclair, both said, no, we are going to pull Jimmy Kimmel from the air. We're going to take him out of 37 million American households. Jimmy Kimmel's show only does like 2 million views a night. So what is that going to do to his ratings? Of course, it's going to collapse them. And then at that point, ABC News had no choice but to bow their head, to suspend Jimmy Kimmel, and to grant, in the name of Charlie Kirk, the single greatest cultural victory for the right in a generation.
Wow. Wow. Holy. He took a page right out of Asmongold's book. He was like, he must have saw the video because him and Asmon have been communicating through DMs and stuff like that. You know, Asmon was using his stuff a lot and, you know, Benny got wind of it. So he must have saw the episode and been like, you know what? That guy told me I could call. Can we call HR? Can we call the HR company of all these companies? Is there an HR department I could get in touch with? Wow. Went to all of them. His whole team's been calling them. Benny doesn't play around. So happens. They just watched somebody pass away, man. You should. People got to really, you get a little too caught up. I've noticed people on the left, you get a little too caught up when someone passes. This is not the time to go and start cheering because you're just enraged. You're enraging people who are not like you. They're not vegan. They've been eating meat. They got energy. You know what I mean? They got energy. Bones aren't brittle. They're organized. They're employed. They got jobs. You know what I mean? Not looking for handouts. You got to beware. People like that, they can make phone calls really quick. They sound orderly. Most of them are put together pretty well. You did the wrong thing. You should have just stepped back and just said nothing. If you got nothing nice to say, you should have just said nothing. Believe you me, never would I act the way that you've seen the left act if something, God forbid, like that happened to Biden or Kamala. I'd be like, what? I'd be like, who did this? Who would do that? What? Was it Philadelphia? Did Philadelphia do something? I like that you guys are using the Philadelphia, the code that we have here. The code that we have here on Coach Colin TV. The Philadelphia code. You know, but I would never celebrate somebody's death like that. MSNBC is very upset about it. Let them be.
Of course, it's not the whole story, okay? Because crucially, just hours before that statement, Trump's hand-picked FCC chairman went on a podcast and suggested ABC's broadcast license or affiliates could be at risk if they did not suspend or fire Kimmel, essentially issuing an order saying, and I quote him here, "We can do this the easy way or the hard way."
Badass.
Well, hours later, ABC made the announcement Kimmel would indeed be taken off the air indefinitely. And this is just the latest chapter in Donald Trump's ongoing campaign to crack down on free speech, dominate the media, and essentially render the First Amendment meaningless. An extreme campaign that has been on overdrive the past week. I mean, just yesterday, you had the Deputy Attorney General of these United States, the number 2 at the Department of Justice and the former criminal lawyer for the president, suggesting using criminal anti-racketeering laws, the kind of things used for mobsters, RICO statutes, to go after and prosecute protesters who heckled Donald Trump at a restaurant, who yelled at him. We're also getting new reports today. The White House plans to target a variety of left-leaning groups and nonprofits in the coming weeks, all part of a larger and more dangerous effort underway. And it follows.
He's talking about George Soros. You know that? That's what he's talking about. Trying to make you have sympathy for George Soros. He's going after these non-profit left-wing organizations that have been doing nothing but good in the country. Talking about George Soros. Are you joking? Are you kidding me? Are you joking? This is crazy. Go look up what they do. But it's funny that he's telling this story, and he's telling it like, he's like, would you believe what this Benny Johnson character did? Benny Johnson's just on the other channel like, yep, I did it. You're damn right I did. It's not a hidden story. Benny Johnson's super open about it. Now, this was very interesting. This was written by St. Clair. I want to see if I still have it here, because I'd love to read that to you guys. Jimmy Kimmel. Let me just see here. So, there's been a statement from St. Clair about this whole thing. They said here, Jimmy Kimmel's remarks were inappropriate and deeply insensitive at a critical moment for our country, said Chairman Jason Smith. We believe broadcasters have a responsibility to educate and elevate respectful, constructive dialogue in our communities. We appreciate the FCC Chairman's Carr's remarks today, and this incident highlights the critical need for the FCC to take immediate regulatory action to address control held over local broadcasters by the big nation networks. So they're not playing around at all. What else did they say here? The actions. Oh, I forgot about this part, guys. St. Clair's ABC stations will air a special remembrance of Charlie Kirk this Friday during Jimmy Kimmel's time slot. Oh, man. And of course, that's the face you're making. Of course. What? Are you kidding me? That's nuts. You're talking about Charlie, and now Charlie's going to be in your time slot. Oh, man. Oh, man. Imagine he was around to see that happen. You know, imagine he survived and he got to see that happen. What a happy day it would have been for him. You know, man. Then there was, these guys. Let me just read this really quick. So this is the other side of the firing of Jimmy Kimmel. Look what they had to say. His comments about the death of Mr. Kirk were offensive, insensitive at a critical time in our national political discourse, and we do not believe they reflect the spectrum of opinions, views, and values of the local communities which we are located. What did they say? They said here, continuing to give Jimmy Kimmel a platform in the communities we serve is simply not in the public interest at a current time. Oh, man, there was someone else. Maybe it was these guys. They said that he's going to have to issue an apology. St. Clair also, St. Clair also calls upon Jimmy Kimmel to issue a direct apology to the Kirk family. Furthermore, we asked Mr. Kimmel make a meaningful personal donation to the Kirk family and Turning Point USA. Wow. You know, that's rich talk for a lot of money. We need it to be meaningful. What's meaningful? I mean it. If I give $40, I mean it. They're like, no. Add zeros. Add multiple zeros. Add a few zeros. Wild. No, I know some people are like, hey, not cool. Huh. Not me. This guy was I'm telling you, he was trying to turn family members against other family members and make people who made the decision to take the sovereignty over their own body feel like pieces of garbage. I love what's happening to him. Couldn't care less. And then he gets the Trump treatment, of course. Great news for America. Oh, that's how Trump starts it. Oh, he's the best. Great news for America. The ratings challenge Jimmy Kimmel's show is canceled. Congratulations to ABC for finally having the courage to do what had to be done. Kimmel has zero talent and the worst ratings, even worse than Colbert, if that's possible. That leaves Jimmy and Seth, two total losers on fake. Why are they catching strays? They didn't even say anything. Oh, Trump is the best. There's never going to be another one like him. That leaves Jimmy and Seth, two total losers on fake news NBC. Their ratings are also horrible. Do it, NBC. President DJT. Wow. I love it. I absolutely love it. I can't hide it. I know. And some people will say this. They'll say, cancel culture. You know, Riley Gaines is like, no, consequence culture. Listen, I feel like that's I was going to say it's a little bit of a cop-out because it is canceling. You're canceling someone. It is consequences. The cancel culture has also always been about consequences in a way. But Matt Walsh actually said it best when he was confronted with this notion of this being cancel culture and, you know, all that. He compared it. He said the left tries to get you fired for simply saying he when you should have said she. They try to get you fired for very trivial things. You know, you don't want to go along with some delusion that they have, whatever the new current delusion is that they have. And if you don't go along with that, they try to get you fired. They try to ruin your life. Whereas the right jumped into this type of behavior when one of them got hit in the neck and passed away in front of his wife and kids. It's a little different. And I agree with Matt Walsh when he says that. It's a little bit different. Look at Jimmy here. Nelk Boys said you need a gig at Jimmy Kimmel because Jimmy Kimmel said this about them.
Mar-a-Lardo has been making the rounds. He was on a podcast hosted by this is really something. A small group of YouTubers known as the Nelk Boys. Now, these guys, they show up at Mar-a-Lago in sweatshirts and shorts, logos all over their clothes. Trump sits down for an hour with them during a war to answer the dopiest questions. One of the great things about Trump is it doesn't matter who's interviewing him. It could be George Stephanopoulos or three doofuses who brought a 12-pack of hard seltzer along with him. He's going to answer the same way.
Isn't that a good thing? I don't know. But they stuck it to, they did not forget that Jimmy said this. They pulled up the clip and then they said, you need a gig. Oh man. He's getting it from all angles. Benny Johnson tweeted out, we did it for you, Charlie. And we're just getting started. Charlie's tweet. Jimmy Kimmel isn't funny. Oh man. Oh man. Look at him. Just that's the best part. That ABC's going to air a tribute during Jimmy's time slot. Oh, that's just beautiful. That's great. As it should be. As it should be. He was an incredible guy. Fully deserves it. And then somebody said this at the end. They're like, make Theo Von the new king of late night. And we can begin to heal. That would be interesting to see. It would be interesting to see Theo Von in that position of being like, I don't see Theo Von doing the monologues in a suit standing there. I don't see that, but he would definitely be great at the interviews, sitting down for a little interview and making it real weird and making people laugh. I mean, we've seen him do it with the president, the vice president, Joaquin Phoenix, like all sorts of RFK, all sorts of people. So it would be interesting, but I don't see that happening. But one thing at a time, first Jimmy's gone. That's nice. And I don't know if they'll bring him back if he apologizes and makes the donation. It seems like was kind of an ultimatum they were bringing up. If he does that, I think that would be good because, his wife, man, like despite what we might think about it, his wife deserves that. And out of all the footage that Charlie's kids are going to be able to see. They're going to be able to see the actual video. They're going to be able to see all the people celebrating. Let them see somebody actually apologizing for what they said. Let them see that. Good. Should be happening way more, quite honestly. But Jimmy Kimmel got fired. And you know what? Happy as can be. Happy as can be. Good morning, everybody. Colin TV, the new morning show. I'm taking over for The View, you see. You understand? Are they in the morning? I have no idea when they're on. I would never watch The View, ever. But, I'm new morning. I'm new morning TV. Have a great day, guys. Have a great day. Go into this day happy and chipper, knowing that you're not going to have to see Jimmy Kimmel or any clips or anything for at least indefinitely. You won't have to see any of that. And that's the silver lining in everything. Charlie, even Charlie's gone and he's still giving us gifts all this time later, still giving gifts. This is a nice one. There hasn't been much to smile about, but we have Jimmy Kimmel gone. Just couldn't happen to a better guy. You know what I mean? Anyway, I'm out of here.